Well, Britain's athletes made us proud during the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Credit for the seamless running of last summer's events deservedly went to the thousands of volunteers who ensured everything ran as smoothly as possible.
To sustain the pride that we felt last year, all this week, this morning, is celebrating the incredible work done by an army of dedicated volunteers across the UK. Phillip and I have met one man who knows only too well the hard work done by these unpaid heroes, His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales.
As Holly and I waited for the arrival of His Royal Highness, a casual glance around the garden room served as a reminder that this is in fact the London home of Prince Charles, the Duchess of Cornwall and Prince Harry.
Normally, Prince Charles carries out up to 5 royal engagements every day, but today is slightly different, as he joined us straight from the dentist. But far from being down in the mouth, he was extremely upbeat about discussing a subject close to his heart: volunteering.
It was a summer to remember, with the Jubilee and the Olympics.
We thank the volunteers for their unique contribution to the Games.
We showed why there was a great in Great Britain. 2012 proved how good we are at volunteering when we're pushed in the right direction. Were you surprised at the response from the volunteers?
Well, I was surprised, I suppose, in the sense that there was so many. Yeah. But it's these sort of occasions like the Olympics or the Jubilee which bring out, I think, they're often the best in people. But I do know from things like doing some investitures, at Buckingham Palace on behalf of the Queen, just how many wonderful people there are doing all these remarkable things and volunteering the whole time in their own communities. Because a lot of people don't realise, I don't think, how so many of these people actually keep the whole show on the road. I mean, there is something remarkable, I think, in this country about the volunteering spirit.
So is it going to be a difficult task keeping that spirit alive in 2013?
Well, I mean, this is the great challenge.
It is a challenge Prince Charles has already embraced by, for example, becoming patron alongside the Duchess of the Diamond Champions Awards, founded by the WRVS and designed to celebrate volunteers over 60, including Margaret, a remarkable 102-year-old who still volunteers.
It gives you quite a great satisfaction in life that you've done something for someone else.
I became an ambassador for the awards after spending just one day with the Meals on Wheels team and seeing the work carried out by their volunteers. But Prince Charles meets volunteers from all walks of life every day, from mountain rescue to more grassroots projects like the one he visited just days before our interview.
There was a particularly splendid lady we met in Tower Hamlets at the Hollybush housing estate called Margaret Cox. She's again one of these remarkable, determined ladies who's got everybody together, and again they've done a fantastic job in putting these beds that you can grow vegetables in and plant trees and things in tarmacked areas which are otherwise wasted and awful. They do all sorts of volunteering efforts. They were packing Christmas hampers of the vegetables to give to people who were in particular difficulties. She's one wonderful example.
Although Prince Charles is involved in many charities, the one he is most known for is the Prince's Trust. Many of us, of course, know it best from its fundraising concerts and galas, but behind the glamour, over 6,000 volunteers do vital work in the community.
Well, Phil and I are ambassadors, and, we've witnessed firsthand the work that the Trust does, and you must be so proud of its success.
It is wonderful, but it's entirely, if I may say so, due to marvellous people like yourselves who are prepared to do this. I mean, you're classic volunteers, and 6,000 of them, I think, now, who help in one way or another, mentoring, business advice, and now it's, nearly 80,000 businesses we've started in the last 30 years. And the wonderful thing then is to find it coming round again, as I hoped it would. One chap came back the other day and gave us £250,000 to help, the Trust again.
Wow.
I think in a funny way, success breeds success.
And from the birth of a royal charity 35 years ago to a forthcoming royal birth of a different kind. Well, you are soon to be a grandfather for the first time, so many congratulations.
Getting very old.
And you've said yourself that you feel impatient for change. So does an impending new generation make you feel that there is still not enough time and so much to do?
Well, yes. I mean, for what it's worth, I've gone on for years about the importance of thinking about the long term in relation to the environmental damage, the climate change, everything else, because we don't really, in a sensible world, want to hand on an increasingly dysfunctional world to our grandchildren. And I don't want to be confronted by my future grandchild saying, why didn't you do something? So clearly, now that we'll have a grandchild, obviously it makes it even more obvious, to try and make sure we leave them something that isn't a totally poisoned challenge.
But it's not just his own grandchild's future that Prince Charles is concerned about, which is why he set up
So this is the Scouts and the Guides, the Boys Brigade and the Girls Brigade, the Coast Guard, the Mountain Rescue, the Cadets, Army, Navy, Air Force, the Fire Service and the Ambulance Service.
to name but a few. And it was in 2009 that Prince Charles brought all these organisations under one umbrella and sees them in part as a potential solution to the blight of urban gangs.
I think you've said so in your own words. Young people are far more likely to join a gang than they are the Scouts.
That's right. Because I've met so many of the families whose lives, again, have been torn apart by having their children killed by, one disastrous contact with a gang after another. What I wanted to do with Youth United was to get all the uniformed services and others together to talk to them about how we could help to expand the opportunity for many more young people to do this. I then discovered in talking to them that was something like an 80,000 waiting list. Can you believe this? To get into the Scouts and Guides.
Really?
Yes. Most people have no idea about that.
No.
So there's a massive number of young out there who want to, but can't.
Do it, gosh.
Part of the reason is they can't find enough adult volunteers, you see. Hopefully now, with all the interest in the Jubilee and the Olympics, we've got more people perhaps who might get involved. The armed forces are being reduced, and there are potentially more people coming out who might also come and help. All those wonderful characters through Help for Heroes. I got to know some of them in my regiments, lost a leg, 2 legs. Some of these characters would be fantastic to inspire and motivate the young.
A message which we are sure would find favour with Prince Harry, himself volunteering in a different way with the military, who is shortly due to return home from his second tour of Afghanistan, this time crewing Apache helicopters.
Having one of your sons on the battlefield must be a constant worry to you. And it does mean that you can certainly empathise with other families that are in a similar situation.
It certainly does, yes. A couple of years ago, I think, Harry was out there. But enough, he was, part of the time, he was attached to the Gurkhas, of whom I've been Colonel-in-Chief for 37 years or something. They're the most wonderful people. So I was pulling his leg, their leg, the Gurkhas, by saying, well, hang on a minute, I've spent all these years trying to teach him to eat with a knife and fork, and you were teaching him to eat with his fingers by pulling, goats to pieces. Anyway, curried goat. But they're very good at haggling with the Afghans about goats. But no, yes, of course you do, because if you are a parent or, relation or loved one, and you're, the person you love is away like that in these incredibly dangerous and challenging circumstances, I know you worry all the time. Certainly every night when I go to bed, I worry. And but he loves doing what he's doing. He's brilliant at it. I think he's helping to keep the nasties' heads down and, protecting our troops on the ground. But I do know, yes, I constantly meet the families of those who've lost their sons or husbands or brothers or sisters. I have some understanding, at least, of what they go through.
One area where I think Prince Charles would agree he has less understanding is that of computers. Unlike this next generation of computer geeks who've gone high-tech as a result of another Prince Charles charity, Business in the Community.
Well, the ideas are very innovative. I mean, ClickSilver matches together young computer-savvy students with wannabe silver surfers, if you like. And it makes perfect sense. It just works.
It does. Mentoring, you see, can make a fantastic difference. And I think, the young realise they've got something to pass on. I think the older ones probably greatly appreciate the enthusiasm interest of the young in trying to explain some of these more complicated aspects of computer operations and IT.
Are you good
Some
at
probably
that,
want to
sir?
smash them. Let's not get into that.
Just in conclusion, sir, looking back, 2012 was a remarkable year for the country. And you said, I think at the Pride of Britain Awards, nobody does it better. Carly Simon's song.
Well, there's a lot of James Bondery going on then, I think.
Yes,
wasn't there?
absolutely. Do you feel positive about the future?
The great thing about having the Jubilee and the Olympics in the same year has been that I think it's reminded people of just how well the Brits do things. I mean, they really did play a blinder. As you say, the challenge is how to keep some of the legacy of this going. And I think actually there will be quite a lot of it now, because I think it's given people perhaps a new sense of purpose and belief in themselves and in what they can all do.
Your Honour, thank you very much indeed
Thank
for
you
talking
so
to us.
much.
It's a pleasure.
Not at all.
Thank you.